I always thought I knew my wife until I found her diary. And when I read it, I realized the woman I married had a secret side that no one could ever imagine. And it scared me more than anything in my life. It was just a regular Saturday. I was in the attic, sorting through old boxes, trying to make sense of years of clutter. Then I saw it, a small, leather-bound book, hidden at the bottom of a worn shoebox. My wife's diary. At first I hesitated. Maybe I shouldn't be reading it, but curiosity overpowered me. The first pages were normal. Lists, little notes about birthdays, fleeting thoughts. Harmless, innocent. I smiled faintly, thinking, so this is what she writes when I'm at work. Then I found an entry titled, He. My stomach dropped. It started like a casual note, but soon the truth bared itself. She had a boyfriend. Not a fleeting fling, but someone who had complete control over her, who filmed her, blackmailed her, manipulated her. And what froze me in place? She wrote that she enjoyed it. At first, I couldn't understand. How could she? I had imagined fear, despair, regret, but not thrill. And yet that's exactly what her words screamed. She described the way he made her submit, the videos he kept, the messages she had to obey, and how she secretly found excitement in it all. She wasn't just a victim, she was thriving in the danger. She wrote about how she would smile at him, act innocent, and play the role of a scared girl. But inside, she felt alive. Every rule she broke, every secret she kept, every moment of hidden rebellion. She loved it. I sat there, hands shaking, mind racing. The woman I had married, trusted, believed I knew. She wasn't the person I thought she was. And the worst part? The more I read, the more I realized that part of her had always existed. Maybe I'd been blind, maybe I'd never looked close enough. Each page revealed something darker. She described every encounter, every blackmail demand, every time she had to comply with him. And yet, the thrill, the forbidden pleasure, it was her own secret enjoyment. She was aware of the danger, and she reveled in it. Her writing shifted from fear to desire, from regret to confession. She wrote about her double life, the wife everyone believed was innocent, naive, and compliant, and the woman who secretly craved the darkness. Every entry was like a dagger twisting in my gut. And then came the parts that made my blood run cold. She wrote about how she anticipated his messages, how she obeyed his demands while savoring the power he thought he had over her. The lines were intimate, raw, and disturbingly honest. She wasn't just surviving this nightmare. She was playing with it, bending it to her own secret will. I don't remember how long I sat there. The attic grew darker as shadows lengthened, but I couldn't stop reading. Anger, heartbreak, confusion, all collided inside me. The marriage I thought I had, the life we built together, felt like it had been built on illusions. She detailed moments that had once seemed normal, mundane, nights at home, quiet conversations, casual touches. All of it had a hidden layer, a performance she was putting on for me, for him, for herself. And through it all, she had been enjoying the manipulation, the secrecy, the thrill of danger. By the time I closed the diary, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I couldn't process the woman I had loved, the woman I thought I knew. She wasn't just a wife who had betrayed me. She was someone else entirely, someone alive in ways I could never have imagined, thriving in shadows I had no idea existed. I walked down from the attic slowly, diary clutched against my chest, each step heavier than the last. I knew confronting her would come, but not tonight. Not while the reality of her secret world still lingered like smoke around me. But I also knew something had changed forever. There was no going back. The mask was gone, even if she didn't know I'd seen it. And the truth was terrifying. Because even if I confront her tomorrow, Even if I demand answers, part of her will still be enjoying the dangerous, twisted thrill she has lived in for years, and I can't decide if that terrifies me more than her betrayal, or if it terrifies me more that I might secretly understand it too. I thought the worst was behind me when I found her diary, but I had no idea I was stepping into a nightmare far darker than betrayal. It started innocently enough. I couldn't stop myself from going back to her diary, page after page, desperate for answers, for some clue that would explain what the woman I loved had become. And with every entry, my heart sank further, twisted tighter. Her words were precise, deliberate, almost rehearsed. She wrote about him, her boyfriend, and not like she was in love, not like she was confused. She wrote about how he controlled her, how he blackmailed her with videos she'd secretly recorded, forcing her into things she didn't want, but secretly enjoyed. At first I wanted to hate her. I tried to rage against every word, every act, every smile she must have worn around me while hiding this world. But the deeper I read, the more I realized something terrifying. She loved it. The fear, the power, the thrill. It wasn't just him controlling her. She was playing a game she alone understood. She described his face as he leaned over her, his demands whispered through the phone, the camera capturing every move. And she wrote about her own hidden excitement, how the adrenaline made her feel alive. She called it a secret thrill, a power only she could feel, something that made her pulse quicken in ways I could never have imagined. I remember dropping the diary onto the bed, my hands shaking, my mind spinning. Part of me wanted to burn it, destroy it, erase the evidence of the life I thought I knew, but I couldn't. I was addicted to the truth, to watching the mask slip from the woman I married. The next entries were worse. She wrote about him, insisting she meet him in public, subtly, without anyone noticing, and how she savored every moment of deceit. How she felt alive sneaking around, hiding her real self behind the facade of innocence I'd always trusted. She admitted she enjoyed seeing his shock when she subtly refused, how his control wasn't absolute. She had her own little victories, and then it hit me. The diary wasn't just a confession. It was a window into her dark pleasure, the part of her I'd never seen, never wanted to see, but now could not unsee. She didn't just tolerate the blackmail, she thrived under it, laughed silently at the thought of him thinking he had power over her, when really she was the one enjoying the danger. I began noticing patterns in her writing, the way she described certain nights, certain encounters, with a mix of fear and excitement. It was addictive, and I realized I was reading not just her actions, but the psyche of a woman who loved to be cornered, controlled, and yet secretly in charge. I had to see her. I needed answers. So, that evening, after pretending to leave for work, I sat across from her at the kitchen table, diary in hand. My heart pounded not with anger, not with betrayal, but with fear of what I was about to uncover. I slid the diary toward her. She glanced at it, her eyes widening, and for a moment I thought she would break down, cry, beg for forgiveness. But instead, she smirked, just a faint, subtle smirk, like she'd been waiting for me to catch on. "Read it," she said softly, her voice calm, controlled. "It's all there. Every truth you'll ever want to know." I opened it, my hands trembling, and she watched me, her eyes gleaming with something I couldn't name. Pride, mischief, power, all of it. I confronted her about the blackmail, about the videos, the meetings, the things she'd done, and she admitted it, not with shame, not with regret, but with a kind of intoxicating thrill. "Yes," she said, "he thinks he has me, but I let him sometimes, and sometimes I just let myself enjoy it." And I froze. My marriage, my trust, everything I thought I knew, shattered. And yet, part of me couldn't look away. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to leave, but another part, a darker, more twisted part, wanted to understand, to see how deep the rabbit hole went. She leaned closer. "You think I'm weak?" she whispered. "You think you could control me with anger or tears? You don't even see it. I am the danger you never expected, and I love it." I wanted to scream, to run, to rip her apart, but she had me emotionally, mentally, completely, and I couldn't move. Then she told me about her biggest secret. She hadn't just been enjoying the blackmail. She had been experimenting with it, testing her own limits, seeing how far she could go without being caught, how much control she could give up and still feel powerful. Every encounter, every secret, every word in that diary was part of a game she played for herself. And everyone else was just a piece on her board. I realized then that our marriage was not just broken. It had never been what I thought it was. The woman I married had always had this side, this hunger for thrill, danger, control. And now I was trapped in it, a witness to a darkness I had never imagined. That night, she left the diary open on the table. I read until the early hours, unable to stop, unable to process. She slept across from me, breathing softly, an angel in appearance, but a predator in spirit. And I knew in some twisted way she enjoyed my horror as much as I feared it. By morning, I had made a decision. Not to leave, not yet. I needed to understand this darkness, to survive it, and maybe to survive her. Because I realized something terrifying. I could walk away from her actions, but I could not walk away from her mind, her power, the game she played with reality and control. And I didn't think anyone ever could. I closed the diary and looked at her. And in that glance, I saw the woman I married, and the woman I feared. And I knew no matter what I did next, my life would never, ever be normal again.